Today on The Nick DeLeon Show.
The Kentucky County Clerk jailed for refusing to issue marriage licenses to gay couples has been released Tuesday after 5 days behind bars. Meanwhile, in Wallingford, Iowa, the shocking independent candidate legally named D's Nuts has been revealed to be... And now time for a news segment focused on the multi-billionaire asshole, trumped up news.
And now a warning from Japan. Don't have sex with the robots. It's like watching Jordan in his prime, tells the instead of Rogers, who completed 24 of...
Hey, this is the Nick DeLeon Show. We have all kinds of stuff to discuss on today's program. Don't you even think about clicking that mouse anywhere else, so stay tuned.
She told me you'll never be alone. I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, Oh, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it, Oh,
It seems like I've been living under a rock, but I've heard so much about this one. The Kentucky County Clerk jailed for refusing to issue marriage licenses to gay couples has been released Tuesday after 5 days behind bars, emerging to a tumultuous hero's welcome to thousands of supporters waving large white crosses. I just want to give God the glory. His people have rallied, and you are a strong people, Kim Davis told a crowd after stepping outside, her arms raised like a victorious boxer, blaring Rocky III's theme song, Eye of the Tiger. Her lawyer refused to say whether she would defy the courts again, which she has. Kim cannot and will not violate her conscience, said Matt Staver, founder of the Liberty Counsel, the Christian law firm representing Davis. As for whether she will issue licenses, Staver said only, you'll find out in the near future. The Rowan County Clerk, whose defiance has made her a hero to the religious right, walked free after a federal judge who ordered her to locked up lifted the contempt ruling against her, saying she was satisfied that her deputies were fulfilling her obligation to grant licenses to same-sex couples in her absence. But the U.S. District Judge David Bunning also warned Davis not to interfere again, or else she would wind up back in jail. The 49-year-old Davis has refused to resign her $80,000 a year job. As an elected official, she can lose her post if she is likely to be defeated for re-election, or is impeached by the state General Assembly. The latter is unlikely given the legislator's conservative slant. As the surprise news of her impending release spread, a crowd of dozens of supporters who had gathered on the jailhouse lawn for a previously scheduled rally swelled to thousands. They broke into Amazing Grace and God Bless America and waved signs, flags, and crosses. Cries of thanks to Jesus echoed through the crowd as Davis emerged next to Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee and her husband Joe, who was in overalls and a straw hat. Huckabee and fellow GOP White House candidate Senator Ted Cruz visited her at the jail just after the decision came down. D's nuts. D's nuts. D's nuts. D's nuts! Meanwhile, in Wallingford, Iowa, the shocking independent candidate legally named D's Nuts has been revealed to be 15-year-old Brady Olson, a high school sophomore from the small town who loves politics. It was Brady's younger brother Tyson who suggested that Brady should run for president under the name D's Nuts in the 2016 presidential elections. D's Nuts originated as a phrase from the song D's Nuts from Dr. Dre's 1992 album The Chronic. Then, the 15-second Vine video by Welvin Harris, or otherwise called Welvin the Great, whose Vine made him an overnight sensation and making D's Nuts the most popular phrase of 2015. When D's Nuts decided to place his bid in the pool of hell-bent conservative clowns and hippie liberals, D's Nuts received 9% voter support in North Carolina, posing an independent threat against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Earlier in 2015, there has been a slew of headlines for unusual characters running for president in 2016, such as rapper Waka Flocka Flame and multi-billionaire Donald Trump, whom both made major headlines on both online and on television. According to Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, the President of the United States has to be a minimum age of 35 years old, but Brady says he's still undecided on that one. But the door is always open. And now time for a news segment focused on the multi-billionaire asshole, trumped up news. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker's decision to end his presidential bid months before a single vote had been cast in the 2016 race signals a challenge posed by a personality-heavy contest, dominated in recent months by reality television star and real estate mogul Donald Trump. Walker's bland Midwesternness has been touted by the campaign as a key to his appeal in the contest. A regular guy amid a sea of candidates who simply did not emphasize the average voter in Iowa and New Hampshire. And Walker showed enough personality, particularly in a forceful address at an Iowa Freedom Summit event in January, that the political establishment, and to a certain extent, Republican voters, especially in Iowa, seemed to buy what the Wisconsin governor was selling. But the calculations was pre-Trump. From the day Trump entered the race in mid-June, Walker struggled to find his footing in a race in which the star was no longer Jeb Bush, a relatively conventional opponent, but rather an entertainer who would say and do anything to draw attention. As Trump went from a novelty act to the star of the presidential campaign, Walker's average Joe shtick began to feel like an echo of the race that was no longer being run. Crowds packed cheek to jowl to listen to Trump regale him and the most famous people he knew in the big deals he had cut. Walker had kept telling the same story about how he got his sweaters at Kohl's. Wow.
Now time for our commercial break.
Hello, ladies. It's what a dummy would say! Smart people use bear glove! Trees and sticks? No thanks! Get the respect you deserve with Bear Glove! And if you're not convinced, it's time to...
Be quiet, painting. We're playing chess. Checkmate, timber.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough cause you notice that butt was stuffed deep in the jeans she's wearing. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh baby, I wanna get whipped up and take your picture. My homeboys tried to warn me, but that butt you got makes me so horny.
Why spend 15 minutes in the shower when you can hear this from F***ed Up News? When a couple goes on vacation and a man stares at another bikini-clad woman, his partner gets upset. But you shouldn't, at least according to one researcher. According to Dennis Prager of Prager University, an unaccredited but interesting institution, heterosexual men are programmed to look at other women. It's in their DNA. This creates misunderstandings because the power of the visual to excite men has no analog in women. Even the most faithful man lacks the extreme willpower not to stare at a bikini-clad woman, says Prager. Prager says that if a woman understood the inability not to stare, they would not get upset. He says staring does not mean men want the other woman. They still want their mate. It's just biology. Nothing more. If you're straight, of course.
And now a warning from Japan. Don't have sex with the robots. Japan builds some of the most advanced robotic machinery that customers might have more in mind than commercial or industrial uses. Mobile phone giant SoftBank, which began selling a small humanoid robot named Pepper last June, includes a warning that its user agreement that owners must not perform any sexual act or other indecent behavior with the robot. It should be noted that Pepper is 4 feet tall, it moves on rollers, and lacks the type of part that one normally associates with sexual activity. The machines, which sell for about $2,000 each, were designed to move autonomously to hold basic conversations with humans. They can also detect and respond to a range of human emotions, according to SoftBank. SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son said during an introduction last year that Pepper was designed to understand and respond to humans' feelings. Today is the first time in history of robotics that we're putting an emotion into the robot and giving it a heart, he said. Pepper was proved popular, with 1,000 units that were put to sale each month in June, July, and August, sold out online in just 1 minute each time. The machines were used primarily as customer service and office assistants. Similar models can be found in banks, hotels, and retail shops. It is not clear why SoftBank found it necessary to include the prohibition against sexual acts in the lengthy user agreement. SoftBank did not request to respond to our comment. Earlier this month, a Tokyo man was arrested for kicking a Pepper robot at a SoftBank store because he was upset with customer service. No word on whether he had a relationship with the robot. Pepper showed up in New York on Monday at the 2015 Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting, where he was hugged by noted astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Water your bicycle bleat? Cold. Don't you just hate it when a kid comes to a public place with a cold or flu and wipes their snot all over the place? It's such a bitch for me since I have to deal with this with a cold.
Now time to get into the red zone with Nick's Sports Corner.
Michael Jordan was a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. There were many other basketball stars during this era, but he was the one to watch above all others because you would never know what he was going to achieve next on the court. Can the same be said about Green Bay Packers quarterback and reigning NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers? Teammate Scott Tolzien said that on Monday night following a Rodgers 5-touchdown performance during the Packers' 38-28 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like watching Jordan in his prime. Tolzien said of Rodgers, who completed 24 of 35 passes for 333 yards for a passer rating of 138.5 on Monday. He was at the top of his game. He makes it all go. Packers receiver James Jones agrees. I think Tolzien said it best the other day. It's like watching Michael Jordan in his prime, he said Wednesday. Every time he goes out there, the dude always does something special. Like I've been saying these first 3 weeks, we're all witnessing something special. We probably don't realize it until he's done and retired how good he really was. It's a very high compliment, one that Rodgers doesn't think he deserves. Well, I appreciate the kind of words Rodgers said on Wednesday. I don't know if the comparison is, I'm not worthy of that comparison. I enjoyed watching Michael. I was a big fan as a kid. Rodgers spoke of his high regard for Jordan on Sunday. I think something inside him felt he wanted to put on a show every time he went out, because there was somebody in the stadium that hadn't seen him play before, Rodgers said. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is the NFL's Michael Jordan? Please let me know in the comments below. Lawrence Peter Berra, or famously known as Yogi Berra, has died on September 22, 2015 at 90 years old. Berra played 17 seasons for the New York Yankees and then retiring in 1963, and then played 1 season for the New York Mets in 1965. He had also served as the coach and manager for the Yankees, Mets, and Houston Astros. Overall, Yogi Berra had a career batting average of .285, 358 home runs, and 1,430 runs at bat. Overall, Yogi Berra was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1972, 21 World Series appearances with 13 wins in those games, a plaque in Monument Park in New York, and many other achievements. Yogi will be missed by all who watched him, the MLB, and all of athletics. Well, that's all the time we have on the show. So listen next time on The Nick DeLeon Show.